Hey everybody, welcome to Kavanaugh's Corner. And you may notice here there's a little bit of a change in look. I have upgraded my camera here, so hopefully these reviews will look just a little bit nicer. I'm not going to look any nicer, but the camera has been upgraded to a new iPhone 17 Pro Max. So this allows me to make just a little higher quality videos. I hope you enjoy. As always here on the channel, my name is Andrew Kavanaugh. I review 4K Ultra HD Blu-rays. I talk about picture quality, audio quality, special features, things like that. So today on the channel, I'm going to be reviewing One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This is the all-new 4K of it here. This is a brand new release from Warner Brothers. Actually, at the time of me reviewing this, this is actually not out yet. So it comes out on the 11th of November, 2025. And this was sent to me very kindly by Warner Brothers Home Entertainment. So big thank you to Warner Brothers for sending this new 4K disc my way. This is kind of exciting for me because I do absolutely love this film. This is one of the all-time great films, in my opinion. This won 5 Academy Awards back in 1975. It won Best Picture, among others. And Jack Nicholson in this is just outstanding. He is so phenomenal in this movie, as is Louise Fletcher, the great Danny DeVito, Christopher Lloyd, and how can anyone forget Brad Dourif in his kind of star-making role. He is just phenomenal in this. Everybody just really gives their best in this movie, and it is a just very, very powerful film. This is a movie that emotionally destroys me every time I watch it, and I kind of don't watch it very much, honestly, because of that. This is one of these movies that I watch seldomly, even though it is such a phenomenal film. Now, one thing I like to say before I do any kind of review in all these videos here is that my opinion of these transfers, these 4K discs, whatever it is I may be reviewing, they're very subjective. And what I mean by that is my setup at my home here may be very, very different from yours. So please, understand that this is my opinion of how this disc looks. Yours may differentiate greatly depending on how your system is. I watch these movies on an OLED television with a surround sound setup with receivers and, tower speakers and stuff like that. If you're watching this on a standard, QLED TV with a sound bar, you may have a completely different experience. So just please understand, this is what I'm watching it on versus what you'll watch it on, and everybody has their own opinions. This is just my opinion of this disc. Now, to jump right into the review here, this new 4K transfer was actually done by the Academy Film Archive. That's the same people that do the Academy Awards. This is very similar to how the transfer of Amadeus was done. Same kind of people, I guess, did that one as well as this one. And I do have to say, I did think the picture quality on this disc was really, really good, but with some caveats, and I'm going to get into them in just a minute here. The biggest step up on this disc to me was the overall image quality is a pretty good jump from the older Blu-ray here. Because it's in, 4K, it's a 4K digital intermediate, the detail level is sky high now on this disc. And it's very noticeable right from the get-go. Close-ups of actors, even Jack and Danny, all these other actors that are in the film, especially Jack in this, like, you can see the individual hairs on his face in certain close-ups. It's extremely, extremely detailed. The higher resolution really helps a lot with this film. Now, the other big thing with this disc is the HDR10 that's on this disc is another upgrade for this film. Colors in this movie have been greatly improved throughout. Colors of clothing, skin tones, the lighting, everything like that in this movie has been greatly assisted by the HDR10, with one exception, and that is the black levels on this disc. The black levels on this disc are actually not that great. and it kind of may be a source issue. I don't know exactly what's going on, but some of the darker scenes in this movie do get sometimes downright noisy, and it's not extremely clear, much like the older Blu-ray here. And the black levels on this one were not that great either. But again, I'm actually beginning to think it may be an issue with the original 35mm camera negative, which was used to do the transfer here. And there's actually two little title cards that show up before the movie that give you a little information on the source that was used for this new transfer, very much like Amadeus. And I'm really glad that they did that. That's a really nice touch. Besides that, the HDR on the disc really brings a lot of life out of the film. I wish the black levels were a little bit better. Thankfully, there aren't many very dark sequences in this movie. Most of the film takes place either in daylight or in very well-lit rooms. There are a few scenes here and there that are slightly darker. The movie just looks very, very pretty. It's a very beautiful film. It's very natural looking. And the other note I wanted to make about this film that some of you are going to love, like myself, and some of you are going to hate. And that's the fact that there is basically no digital noise reduction used on this new transfer at all. And I mean none whatsoever. This is a very, very grainy film. Of course, this movie was shot on film back in 1974, 75, and the movie looks beautiful with this, this film grain. It's very detailed, as I mentioned, but there are moments where the film grain does get incredibly heavy. And again, that's just the film stock that was used for this movie. It is kind of a gritty look that this movie has. Even though the surroundings and everything are very clean, it does have a kind of a grainy, noisy look to it at times. I kind of love this. It really brings you back to the year this movie came out and the way it was made. But again, it is a little thing that I know some of you guys out there are absolutely going to hate. And that's just the way it is. That's the way this movie looks. It's not meant to be cleaned up to the degree where everybody looks like, an action figure or Barbie doll or something. This is a very, very important film. And I'm glad that they did not use any sort of heavy-duty digital noise reduction, DNR, whatever you want to call it, on this movie. It looks spectacular, except, like I said, with some of those darker scenes not really looking very up to snuff. But it is an impressive transfer. It's very natural. It's very true to the original look of the film. It's a very naturalistic transfer, and I'm glad that they did that. I'm really, really glad they did that with the restoration of this movie. Now, in terms of audio quality, there are two audio tracks that are on the 4K disc, and this is where we get into another little controversy with this disc. There is a new lossless 5.1 DTS HD master audio track on here, and that was kind of the main audio track that the Academy went with when they did this transfer. Now, there's a secondary split mono, a 2.0 mono track that was used as well. And the interesting thing is that mono track, a 2.0 mono track, it says on the disc that it's the original theatrical audio or something along those lines. However, that may not be actually true. According to some research that I've done, the original mono audio track to this movie may have actually been lost years ago. It's kind of hard to find exact information on this, but the stereo track, or the 2.0 mono track that's on here, is probably just a minimized, maybe like a folded down 5.1. And again, I can't really say if that's true or not, and I don't want to substantiate any kind of rumors, but listening to that audio track, it sounded fine. But in my personal opinion, for this disc, the 5.1, which is the new lossless remastered audio, that's kind of the way to go. It sounded phenomenal. And as much as people want the original audio track, which, I'm totally on board for, there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of films I've watched recently, the original stereo or mono track actually was better than the remastered Dolby Atmos or 5.1 or whatever it may be. In some cases it is, in some cases it's not, in my opinion. But in this case, the remastered audio was definitely a lot better. Dialogue, to me, was a lot clearer. The volume leveling of it was better. And honestly, just the music, the sound effects, little things like that. It was just a lot more engulfing, and it really put me into the film, whereas that split mono kind of didn't do it for me. It sounded fine, don't get me wrong. It sounded fine in the film. It's just, in this case, you're just better off with the 5.1. That's the one I think that was really given a lot more attention with this transfer, so I would say if you're going to do anything, stick with that lossless 5.1. It's definitely the way to go, and it sounded outstanding. No issues there. Now, in terms of special features, this is where we get a little bit of an upgrade and a little bit of a downgrade from the previous Blu-ray release. The new 4K disc here does have two completely new special features, and they're, I want to say, about 8 to 10 minutes each or so. But one of them is called Conversations on Cuckoo Group Therapy, and there's another one that's called Movie Making Memories. And the group therapy featurette is actually kind of like an online, like a Zoom call type of thing, but it's with producer Michael Douglas. And yes, the Michael Douglas did actually produce this movie. He got kind of launched his career too, but he started as a producer and later became an actor. But he is actually on a call with Danny DeVito, Christopher Lloyd, and Brad Dourif. And man, I wish I could have been on that call. It's a really great conversation about the casting process that was kind of done for this movie, a very unorthodox type of process, and how they were brought onto the film and how it launched all of their acting careers. And I'm really glad that it did, because these are all talented guys. Even Douglas himself, who's one of the great actors of my generation. Just awesome stuff. They're all phenomenal in their own way. And that's a little like 8 to 10 minute talk that they have about that. And then Movie Making Memories is another conversation among the same group of guys there, great legends of the screen. And they talk about working with Jack Nicholson and director Milos Forman, filming this movie, and just kind of talking about, experiences that they had when they were making this film. Really, really cool, insightful stuff. And I really enjoyed those little featurettes, hearing these guys talk about that, and really, really enlightening. I love stuff like that on these 4K discs. Thankfully, they also did carry over two older special features. One of them is an 80-something minute documentary that's called Completely Cuckoo, which is a behind-the-scenes kind of documentary about the making of this film. And I'm glad that they carried that over. That was a really nice thing that they did for this disc. And there's also about 4 or 5 deleted scenes that were removed from the film. And I really, I'm glad those are in there too. The big loss of this disc, though, is that they did not carry over the feature-length commentary with director Milos Forman and Michael Douglas and producer Saul Zentz, I think is his name. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. But that was on this older Blu-ray, and it is sadly not on the 4K here, which is a real shame that they did not bring that over. It was a really, really good kind of interesting commentary that sadly is gone now. And I may actually keep this Blu-ray here because of that not being included on this disc. And also, just so you know, the disc does come with a digital copy, but it is only a singular 4K disc here on this standard version. There is also a steelbook version as well, but that is also just a one-disc set. So what are my thoughts on One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest here? I'd say that, if you're a lover of this film or just film in general and you don't own this movie already on Blu-ray, it's a nice upgrade, but it's not a giant, massive, change your life, kind of see the movie completely differently again type of upgrade. I did love the picture quality. The bump in picture quality on this was great. The HDR10 on this was spectacular, but other than that, it wasn't a giant leap from the original Blu-ray. The movie does look great, and it is a phenomenal film, But it's just not kind of a night and day thing to me where I could recommend this 4K disc. However, if you do love this film, this is the best this movie's ever looked. I will say that. But it's a hard recommendation for me just because it's little things that are bumped up. And if those little things are enough for you to pick it up, then I'll leave a link in the description below that leads to Amazon. If you use that link, I do get a little, kickback here at the channel. It's a very itty-bitty little percentage. But really, the best thing you can do to show that you enjoyed this review is to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel here. I am going through a really crazy period of growth here on my channel, and I cannot thank you all enough for subscribing, watching, commenting, liking these videos. It really means a lot to me. This is not my full-time job. I work 40 hours a week doing another job. I do this in my spare time because I really enjoy it, and I'm really happy to have supporters out there, possibly like yourself watching this, that enjoy these videos too. And I hope that I am able to give you a little pointer in the right direction for these kinds of discs here, because physical media ain't what it used to be. I wish I could say it wasn't dying. I mean, it's still alive, but it's definitely not a common thing. This is kind of a niche little thing that I do here on the channel. And I hope you enjoy these videos, and I appreciate you if you watched this far. I wish you all the very best. Until the next video, please stay safe, keep collecting, and take it easy.